it's a lot easier to market a piece of content than to actually create it, which means, this is good news, we likely can be creating less content and thinking just a little bit more strategically about the promotion of that content and get way better results.
Hey, my name is Jenna Kutcher, and I am obsessed with all things business, marketing, numbers, and helping you to navigate both the messy and the magical seasons of this thing called life. I'm a small town mama who took a $300 camera, grew a successful photo biz, and now I work from home and run a 7-figure online business. I teach you the tried and true secrets to building a career you adore. Shy away from the real talk? No way. Money, hardship, growth, loss, and marketing are all topics we discuss here. Think of this as your one-stop shop for happy hour with a gal pal mixed with business school. Pull up a seat, make sure you're cozy, and get ready to be challenged and encouraged while you learn. This is the Goal Digger Podcast.
Are you feeling a little overwhelmed? If you are, I totally get it. When you think about it, as entrepreneurs and bloggers and content creators, our to-do lists are never ending. It's this constant juggle between creating new content, engaging with our audience, and actually running our businesses. That's why today's topic is one of my absolute favorites: how to easily repurpose your content to maximize your results in under an hour a week. Now, the strategy I'm about to teach you today gives your content a way longer shelf life, making sure that your hard work actually gets seen and consumed and enjoyed. Gone are the days where you spend tons of hours working on a lengthy blog post, a podcast episode, a YouTube video, an Instagram reel, only to hit post without a plan to actually promote it. I'm going to share with you my best tips to get more eyes on your content in way less time than it takes to binge watch your favorite TV show. Together, we're going to unlock the power of the ultimate search engine and visual discovery platform rolled into one, which is Pinterest. Now, if you have been hanging out with me for any length of time, you probably already know my obsession with Pinterest. I want to invite you right now to join me for my free training. It's how to 20x your traffic in 1 hour a week using Pinterest. You can head to teachmetopin.com, and this will give you a visual of what I'm going to be talking about in today's episode. That's teachmetopin.com to learn how Pinterest can work for your business. I'm going to explain in just a few exactly why I love Pinterest so much, but I want to give you a little sneak peek right now. Pinterest content lives more than 120 times longer than any social media platform. We are talking about turning hours into months, sometimes even years. To this day, I literally get thousands of impressions a month on pins that are over 3 years old. And my question for you is the content that you created years ago still working for you? And if it's not, today's episode is going to change everything for you. If this doesn't revolutionize the way you think about your content and how you're promoting it, I do not know what will. So are you ready to transform your content strategy while reclaiming your precious time? If so, let's dive on in. More to-dos, less time, and an infinite number of tools to keep track of. Goal diggers, do you ever feel like doing business has never felt harder? Well, the good news is you don't need a miracle to hit your goals. You just need HubSpot. Their all-in-one customer platform can make growing your business so much easier. Imagine this: high-quality leads, fast-closing deals, wildly happy customers, and more benchmark-breaking quarters. It's not a miracle, it's HubSpot. Visit HubSpot.com to get started today. That's HubSpot.com. I want to take you down memory lane as we go through this episode, because in this topic, I see so many gaps in my own entrepreneurial journey and mistakes that I've made and places where I wasn't actually being strategic or savvy. And so I want to start and set the scene of why I'm so obsessed with smarter content creation, not only to save you time, but to drive more results. Here's why I'm obsessed with this. When I first started my business back in 2010, which it's crazy that it was that long ago, the first thing I did was I opened up a free WordPress blog. And a lot of people don't know this about me, but I blogged Monday through Friday for years. I'm talking 5 or 6 years. I blogged Monday through Friday. I never missed a single day. I didn't have a single team member. There was no copywriters helping me. I was blogging Monday through Friday every single week without missing a single day. And I smile when I think about that version of me because I don't know what she was talking about. I have no idea how she had so much to say. And I don't really know why that became my rhythm, but it's so fascinating to me because I feel like these days we are so overloaded by content creation. And I recognize and see in myself, even in the earliest days of entrepreneurship for me, that I stepped on the hamster wheel of content creation and I don't know that I've ever gotten off of it. I've just gotten better at managing it. And it's so interesting to me because the more that I speak with entrepreneurs, the more that I'm feeling this pulse in our culture right now of like, we are burnt out on creating content. We started our businesses to do the things we love, not to create dancing reels on Instagram, not to feel like we need to, write 5-paragraph essays. Like we want to do what we love. But yet content creation is an important part of the game. And so it's like, how do we find this balance where the content that we're actually creating is generating real results? It's not just living and dying on social media just for likes and comments, but it's generating real results that move the needle in our companies so that any amount of time that we're spending on the content, we are clear and confident that it's actually worth it. And I really think that the burnout comes from this feeling of like, I am working so hard and I have no idea if it's actually working. I don't know if it's actually worth it. And I know for me as a mom, when I am working, I want everything that I'm working on to be absolutely worth being away from my kids, because being with my kids is like my number one priority. It's the number one value that I have. And so if I'm going to spend any amount of time away from them and at my computer, the content that I'm creating, I don't want to just work on it. I want it to work for me. Listen to this statistic. HubSpot's State of the Marketing Report found that marketers typically spend around 16 hours per week creating content. This includes writing blog posts, creating videos, designing graphics, and more. So let's just say that we are working a 40-hour work week. I kind of laugh at that idea because I think a lot of entrepreneurs probably work more than 40 hours a week, but let's just say we're working 40 hours a week. Nearly half of our time every single week is going into content creation. So it's no wonder that we are burnt out, that we are sick of it, or that we don't even want to get into it in the first place. So when we look at this statistic that 16 hours a week are being spent on content creation, that is a good chunk of our time. That is also time away from your craft. It is time away from your family. It is time away from the things in your life that you love. Here's another statistic that I thought was super interesting. Clear Voice's content marketing strategy survey found that 27% of marketers spend between 1 to 2 hours on content creation daily, while 35% spend 2 to 4 hours, indicating that a significant of our work days are dedicated merely to creating content. Now, what I think has happened in this culture is that there is this pressure to constantly be producing new content. And of course, we're feeling overwhelmed by that. When I look back at the Jenna who is blogging every single day, I'm like, girl, what did you have to say? Like, how did you even come up with ideas? And so this is why it is more crucial now more than ever to find actual strategies that allow you to actually get results from what you're creating and to make sure that those creations are moving the needle. I bring this up on pretty much every podcast episode, so it's like not a surprise that I'm obsessed with this show. I want to someday be on this show, but I always think about Shark Tank. And when the business owners are pitching to the sharks, one of the biggest questions is like, how are you getting your leads? And so many people, I think, in the business world could not answer that question with clarity, saying, the average cost per lead is, my average order value is, my churn rate is, and like not knowing our numbers. And I think that with content, it almost feels elusive. Like we're creating all this stuff. It's really good work, but usually the only parameters that we're using to judge if it's effective or not, or if it did well, quote unquote, or not, are likes and comments. And it's not actually like email subscribers or orders or sales or new clients. And so I think that we've got to really shift how we're looking at content in general to give us that clarity and confidence that I think so many of us are desiring, and that I also think will help so many of us to alleviate that burned out feeling of like, I don't even know why I'm doing this. So let's move on. We've talked about how much content we're creating and how much time we're spending on it. And it's no wonder we feel overloaded. But the next part is this. There is a massive neglect around our promotion of the content, right? So we are spending so much time creating the content, but we are failing to invest good amounts of time into the promotion of the content. Here's something I want for you to really think about. If you are spending all of this time creating this amazing blog post or freebie or podcast episode or YouTube video or Instagram reel, and you're head down creating this thing, but you don't actually have a plan on how you're going to promote it and get it in front of the audience you're creating it for, nobody's actually going to enjoy the thing. And I always think about like Pareto's principle, where they say, 80% of your results usually comes from 20% of your efforts. And on a content spectrum, I think that a lot of times we're spending 80% of our time creating the content and 20% of the time promoting it. And I definitely think we need to flip that so that we are thinking more about the promotion of the piece. Because if we don't do a good job promoting it, no one's actually going to enjoy it or get value from it. Zazzle Media's The State of Content Marketing survey found that while content creation is a major focus, only 30% of marketers spend a significant amount of time on content promotion. This is basically telling us that the majority of marketers are dedicating less time to promotion compared to creation, which is what I was just talking about. So we have to really think about, okay, we are spending a very significant chunk of our time of our 40-hour work week on the creation, but we are not actually thinking about the promotion of that creation. Here's another stat that will drive this home. According to HubSpot, marketers spend about 10% of their work week on content distribution and promotion. So again, this is usually only 4 hours per week. So again, if you're spending 16 hours creating and only 4 hours promoting, and I think that's honestly pretty generous, that is half of your week devoted to content and the promotion of it. That's a lot of time that we're spending on content creation. But my question for you is to ponder, what would happen if we redistributed your time, made less content, but made the content that you're making drive more impact, drive greater results, and live a lot longer? Like, my question that I think we should all really consider is, what if we didn't have to spend 20 hours a week on content after all?
I'll never forget when I got my first online course idea. I was so excited about the content, but I was so worried and overwhelmed with how to create it and where to host it and how do I let my students log in. But then I discovered Kajabi and everything clicked into place. Kajabi is the ultimate all-in-one platform that helps you build awesome online businesses and make steady, predictable revenue. I love it so much, I have been using it for a decade, and it has only gotten better over time. You can take all of your amazing skills, passions, and experiences and transform them into empowering online courses, membership sites, subscription podcasts, fun communities, personalized coaching, and so much more. Kajabi doesn't take a single cent of your revenue. That's right. You get to keep 100% of what you earn because everything is owned and controlled by you. With Kajabi, you get all the tools you need in one spot: detailed analytics, easy ways to get paid, awesome email marketing tools, and customizable website templates. And guess what? You don't even need to have a massive audience to make a sustainable income. Thousands of creators on Kajabi are making 6 and 7 figures with fewer than 50,000 followers. So if you are a one-person show needing a helping hand, Kajabi is your secret weapon. Right now, Kajabi is offering a free 30-day trial to start your business if you go to kajabi.com/goal. That's kajabi.com/goal. Visit kajabi.com/goal to join the creators and entrepreneurs who have made over $7 billion. I will never forget an anniversary trip that Drew and I took years ago where we drove the Pacific Coast Highway from LA to San Francisco. And I was so excited because I was in charge of booking the Airbnbs for the trip. And after looking through all of our options, I found the one. Found this farmhouse where we could rent out a room and wake up and collect our own eggs for breakfast in the morning, feed their alpacas, and play with their goats. When we arrived at this Airbnb, the hosts were there waiting for us with a chilled bottle of wine. They showed us our room and bathroom, and then they gave us a tour of their farm. Now, looking back, that trip planted a seed for us to dream about owning our own rental property and not overcomplicating the process. Since then, we've become real estate lovers and super hosts on Airbnb, and honestly, it is one of my favorite parts of my job. Now, something that people don't realize is that you don't necessarily need an investment property to do this. You can create an Airbnb revenue stream from your own home or even host a single room in your house. Your home might be worth more than you think. Find out how much at airbnb.com/host.
When I think about where most small business owners, especially listeners of the show, are spending the majority of their time, a lot of times it's on social media. And I love social media. I show up on social media. I love connecting with you guys on social media. But one of the things that I've realized over and over and over again is that when we focus so much on content that performs well, quote unquote, we're really playing into the algorithm and the game of social media. And we're missing the opportunity to drive the real result, which is to get people off of those platforms and onto places that you own and can control. And so when I think about where our content creation is likely going, I think is a lot of short form content that is living and dying within hours without actually reaching the people that we're creating it for. That is why I am still a huge believer and lover in things like blogging. Like I have been blogging for 14 years. Blogs are not dead. Long form content lives on way longer than that Instagram reel that you're trying to create. That's also why I've shown up on this show for hundreds and hundreds of episodes, because this content is going to serve people months and years to come. I can't say the same thing about an Instagram reel that I posted months ago. I don't think it's actually moving the needle, and I don't think people are finding it months from now. So there is a huge impact when we're not actually thinking about the promotion of our content and promoting our content effectively. So here's a thing that I want to tell you about now, and I left this out intentionally. So remember how I was blogging daily for years upon years upon years? Well, there was a lot wrong to that approach. There's a few things that were right. It definitely showed me consistency. It helped me figure out how to write copy. It helped me to show up on the internet. It helped me to kind of chronicle my life in a way that was maybe interesting. Those are maybe the few things that I got right, but there was so many things I got wrong. So here was my process at the time. I would write the blog post. I would schedule the blog post. And then I would write one Facebook post to accompany said blog post. I would publish it, and then I would move on to the next one. So basically, if somebody didn't see that Facebook post promoting the blog, they probably would never enjoy their content. And when you think about social media and a lot of the statistics saying 3 to 5%, maybe up to 10% of our followers even see what we're posting, let alone engage with it, I probably wasn't doing so hot. I barely even had a Facebook audience at the time. So maybe there were like 10 people reading those posts. What's so interesting is that it's no wonder we feel like we live in this churn and burn society when we're doing things like I was doing, where we were creating, posting it once, saying, well, yeah, I promoted it. People saw it, and then moving on to the next creation. I could have done so much better if I would have flipped that strategy. And I'm going to share what I wish I would have done a little bit differently. Now, the reality is on platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, well, we all know this, but content has the teeniest amount of a lifespan. A tweet is relevant for 18 minutes, a Facebook post, 5 hours, an Instagram post, around 48 hours at best, but most of the engagement happens in the first 3 to 5 hours. After that, engagement drops off sharply and our content gets buried. We know this, and yet we are spending so much time and energy creating content on these platforms where our work is literally dying on the vine. Now, here's what I need you to understand. These platforms are not necessarily set up to help us get our work found. They are not meant to connect people to our websites or our landing pages or our sales pages. Their goal, like Meta's goal, when they sit down, this is what I imagine, when they sit down in a boardroom, Mark Zuckerberg is like, how long are we keeping people on this app? How can we keep them on the app longer? I don't want them to click off. So any posts that have call to actions telling them to get off the app, let's just bury those. We want to just keep people entertained and joyful and curious on this app. Can you see that these platforms are not set up for us to sell on? Their goal is not to get people off of the app and onto your website. That means that while they can be a part of our marketing strategies, they shouldn't be the whole. I would love for you as a listener to sit down and just track your time for the next week to really look and see, okay, how much time am I spending creating content? Where is this content living? What results is it getting me? And how am I promoting this content? Now, what's interesting is that the content that we're working so hard on, it's not getting the visibility it deserves. And it's also not getting the lifespan it deserves. What this means is, and we know this, I think innately we know this, and that is why the burnout exists, is that our valuable content isn't getting the visibility it deserves. We're creating awesome stuff that can help people and serve people and give people joy. And yet it's not even getting a chance because it's not getting seen. Given that we're spending around 50% of our time each week and 26% of our marketing budgets on content creation alone, it is very clear that we need to have a better strategy for promotion. So here is the solution I am proposing for you today. It is not all doom and gloom over here. There is this part where the angels sing, Pinterest. Hear me out, okay? I know it's no secret. I am obsessed with Pinterest. I have literally been talking about Pinterest on this show for the last 7 years. The funny thing is, I did not even know Pinterest was a tool in my toolbox when I first hired my first team member. So I've painted the picture of the early days when it was just me all by myself. When I made my first hire, I hired an amazing woman named Caitlin. We sat down at a coffee shop and I will never forget the first day I met her. She says to me as I'm sipping my little almond milk latte, she says, "So how is Pinterest working?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, I have the best wardrobe goals. I have designed my dream house, which apparently has 20 bedrooms. And I have the best chicken piccata recipe that I will probably never bake, but it is pinned on Pinterest." And she starts laughing and she's like, no. Like, how are you using Pinterest for your marketing? And I didn't even know that was a thing. I was a wedding photographer. Pinterest is like a gold mine for weddings. And I wasn't even using it in that way. I didn't know that I could use Pinterest for marketing. So why Pinterest and how does this help solve our content problem? Well, unlike other social media platforms, Pinterest is a total game changer because it is a search engine. So it's not social media, it is a search engine. When you think Google, you also should be thinking Pinterest. And because it's a search engine, it allows our content to stay visible, and it also continues to drive traffic for months, even years. So when we think about this as a search engine, by nature, its goal, they literally want to send somebody to your website, to your blog post, to your podcast episode, to your landing page, to connect somebody to the solution to their question. Think about when you go on Google, it populates all these different websites. It is literally telling you, click here. This matches what you are looking for. This is how Pinterest works. So let me really quick break down how Pinterest works for you, especially for those of you who might just think of it, just like I did, as a place for meal planning or outfits or dreaming up your dream home. Here's what you might not understand about Pinterest. Anyone can upload content onto Pinterest, okay? It's so funny to me because a lot of times people will be like, "Oh my gosh, I saw there was a pin of your work." And I'm like, "I know, I put it there." That means that you can contribute. You can show your photos, you can show your freebies. And here's where it gets interesting. When you upload something on Pinterest, you can also attach a website link to it. So you can literally say, this pin should send people to this place. The link will direct people to a specific destination if they now click on your pin. So not only are you uploading your content and your work, but you are also designating the destination of where it should take people. Now, Pinterest's main goal is to connect its users with solutions or things that they're looking for. So when we think about this, if somebody is searching for something and they're using keywords related to the content that you have uploaded to Pinterest, your pins have a chance to pop up and then lead them. Even if you don't have a website, you send traffic to landing pages, to opt-in pages to grow your email list, to your Instagram, to your YouTube, to your podcast. You can send them anywhere that you have a URL to on the internet. It's basically like having your own little traffic directing system thanks to Pinterest search functionality. So what does this mean for us in the realm of content creation and saving time? If we shift some of our focus from content creation to smarter promotion, especially leveraging Pinterest, overall, we can make less content and have our content work harder for us. So again, think of early days Jenna. Here's what I wish she would have done. I wish Jenna, instead of writing 5 blog posts every single week for 5 years, I wish that she would have written one really powerful blog post that would serve her ideal audience really well. 1 post per week. And then I wish that Jenna would have thought of different ways to promote that one piece of content multiple times. And so instead of just posting up one Facebook post and whoever happens to see it at 8 a.m. on a Monday morning clicks to the blog post, which is a very small amount of audience, I would give people multiple chances and multiple angles to land on the same piece of content. And that Jenna would be more strategic and savvy. And so not only would it be a blog post that would serve them, but there would be some sort of call to action or next step for that person to take so that I had the opportunity to get in touch with them. Ideally, now this Jenna did not even know about email lists, but ideally, I would invite them to opt in for my email list so that I could send them emails and stay in touch with them, capture that website traffic. So when we think about this strategy, my question for you to ponder is this: would it be easier to create one solid piece of content for me in this scenario, one blog post, and think of 5 to 10 different ways to promote it? Or would it be easier to create 5 different blog posts and promote it 5 different times and then let it die? I think you all know that first option is way easier. It's a lot easier to market a piece of content than to actually create it, which means, this is good news, we likely can be creating less content and thinking just a little bit more strategically about the promotion of that content and get way better results. This isn't just about maximizing our marketing efforts. It is about saving us time and getting us off of that content creation hamster wheel.
Are you an entrepreneur or a driven business owner looking to take your business to the next level? Then you need to tune in to the Boss Babe podcast hosted by my incredible friend, Natalie Ellis. Now, this is one of my favorite podcasts to tune into every single week. I do not miss an episode. Natalie shares in a way that makes these complex ideas really easy to understand. And let me tell you, her love of systems is straight up contagious. These episodes are the opposite of fluff. They are jam-packed with actionable insights and real strategies that you can start implementing right away. Every week, Natalie dives deep into the strategies and tactics that can help you build a wildly successful, profitable, and freedom-based business. So if you've ever wondered how successful women structure their businesses and their lives, or if you've been wanting to make more money while enjoying your life, this podcast is perfect for you. Natalie isn't just any host. She's an angel investor, the founder and CEO of Boss Babe, and she's an audience of over 5 million people. She has built a media brand into a household name and is now sharing her secrets with you. Subscribe to the Boss Babe podcast on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform to level up your business this year. That's the Boss Babe podcast hosted by Natalie Ellis to get everything you need to start, grow, and scale your business. Go hit subscribe right now. Let's talk real life for a sec. Okay, you know those marathon work days where you're hustling from one meeting to the next, and by the time you go to grab a coffee with a client or hug your partner, you're wondering if your deodorant is still going strong? Yeah, we've all been there. Luckily, Lumi Whole Body Deodorant is making sure we never have to worry about BO again. Unlike other deodorants, Lumi uses mandelic acid to stop odor before it starts, giving you up to 72 hours of odor control. Lumi was actually created by an OBGYN who saw how common BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated. Now, fast forward 6 years, and it has over 300,000 5-star reviews. What I love about Lumi is that it's safe to use anywhere on your body, your pits, feet, under boobs, thigh folds, and even those sensitive areas. As someone who loves to work up a sweat and spends time in the sauna daily, I need something that will keep up with me. Lumi's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like a mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get 15% off all Lumi products with our exclusive code. And if you combine the 15% off with the already discounted starter pack, that equals over 40% off of their starter pack. Use the code GOLDDIGGER for 15% off your first purchase at lumideodorant.com. That's code GOLDDIGGER at LUMIDEODORANT.com.
So let's dive on in to how we can better balance our time and use Pinterest as our partner to extend the shelf life of our content and the reach of it, which will help us drive greater results without the constant churn and burn. So remember how a tweet lives for 18 minutes, Instagram post 48 hours max to survive, and content is pretty much dead after 8 hours on Facebook? On Pinterest, the average lifespan of just one pin, I'm talking about one graphic, is 4 months. That is right. We are talking about turning hours or even minutes into months, even years. So let's say that the old Jenna is now enlightened and she has a new strategy. So now she is just going to create one really valuable blog post per week. And she's going to start thinking about different ways that she can promote that one blog post. What's so interesting is that you can create a killer blog post. You can craft the perfect pin, and then you can share it on Pinterest. Now, here's where the magic happens. When you upload a pin and point it to your blog onto Pinterest, and again, you can point it anywhere. If you are not a blogger or you have no interest in being a blogger, this can work no matter where you are sending people to. That pin does not just fade off into obscurity. Instead, it will continue to attract clicks, engagement, and traffic to your website for weeks, months, or even years to come. Why? Because Pinterest is a search engine. So if people are typing in keywords that describe the content in your pin and the keywords that you're using to reach those people, it is going to connect them. And when they are connected, they can click through and drive that traffic to wherever you are sending them to. So let's say that someone stumbles upon your pin while searching for tips on gardening hacks. I've recently gotten into gardening. I am obsessed. I was literally walking in my garden before I sat down to record this. And so let's say somebody stumbles upon your pin. They're looking for gardening hacks. They click on your pin. They love what they see, and they decide to save it to one of their boards. Now, here's the real beauty of how Pinterest kicks in. Every single time someone saves or repins your pin, it gets shown to more people in their network. So now they are doing the work for you, and that cycle can continue. So there is this ripple effect of visibility that can extend far beyond just you uploading this content onto the platform. Now, the even more beautiful part is let's say that person stumbles upon your pin, and it's a pin for 10 gardening hacks for Minnesota gardeners. This would be something I'm looking for. Not only do I save that because I want to be able to refer back to it, but I click over and I land on a blog post that you've created. Oh my gosh, a pop-up comes up that says, click here to get my free gardening guide on how to space out your garden. I can opt in for your email list. So not only have you gotten more traffic on your website, more awareness about what you do and what you offer, now you've gotten my information. So now you can email me and I've gotten free value in exchange. Can you see how there are so many different benefits and results? Like if we think about Shark Tank, we could tell Mark Cuban, I spend an hour a week on Pinterest. I generate millions of views on my content. I get tens of thousands of hits onto my website. And those hits lead to X amount of sales or X amount of subscribers every single week. Can you see how you can start tying your hard work and your time and your energy to real results that are like reportable and that have receipts? Unlike saying, I spent 2 hours creating this Instagram reel and I got 132 likes and 10 comments. Okay, what does that tell me about what it did for your business? Now, what's so cool about Pinterest is that it's not just about like this initial spike of traffic, right? Pinterest search functionality means that your content can remain discoverable over the long haul. So even if you shared that gardening hack pin months ago, it can still pop up in search results when people type in relevant keywords. So if someone else is typing in gardening tips, that might still pop up for them. So what's so cool is that while other platforms may have a shorter attention span, Pinterest is all about the long game. And for me, the long game matters. To use a gardening metaphor here, it is like planting seeds that continue to grow and bear fruit over time, ensuring that your content stays relevant and continues to drive results for your business. This is why I love Pinterest, because I am working so hard on this content, but then I know once I put it onto Pinterest and get it on the platform, that content is actually going to work for me. I'm not working for it anymore. All of the other platforms, you have to consistently be showing up and promoting it in order to keep that content living on. That is not how it works on Pinterest. Remember, the average lifespan of just one pin is 4 months. So if I'm uploading a pin for a blog post that I create today, that's going to live for 4 months. Let's say I upload a pin a month from now about the post that I published today. That's going to live another 4 months. And can you see how it just starts to compound and add up? And that is why it's so easy for your content to actually be generating results for you months and years to come, which we cannot say the same thing about on other platforms. So what does this mean? Does this mean that we've got to change everything? No. Let's talk about optimizing and promoting existing content on Pinterest. Now, I've obviously used blogging as kind of the main example today because that's something that I do and love. But again, you can send Pinterest traffic to any URL on the internet. Websites, landing pages, sales pages, contact forms, online shops, your product images, your podcast, your YouTube channel, your LinkedIn profile, your Instagram content. Any place on the internet that has a URL, you can point to it. So you as a listener are likely sitting on a gold mine this very minute. If you have 5 podcast episodes, I could easily turn that into 50 or even 100 pins. If you have 10 blog posts, you've got 100, 200 pins easy. Again, think, is it easier to create one piece of content or to figure out really simple angles to promote that one piece of content? I'm going to argue it's the latter. If you have past posts, episodes, or content that is still relevant today, all of this can be added to Pinterest. Now, inside of my free masterclass, and I really want you to join because I will show this to you. I will literally illustrate it. You will see how I can take one piece of content and turn it into 10 unique pins in a matter of minutes. So if you are someone who's a visual learner and you want to see how you can do this with your own content, I want for you to go to teachmetopin.com, save your seat. This will literally show you how I can take this podcast episode and turn it into 10, 20, 30 pins so that people are finding this exact episode months and even years from now. And the cool thing about Pinterest is that it's not a more is more game that's going to add more work to your plate. If you haven't noticed inside today's episode, I am sharing these stats to challenge the way that we're doing this. I genuinely believe there is a type of creative energy that we can put into our work that allows us to spend less time creating content, more time strategically promoting it in ways that give us long tail results. And that's why I'm obsessed with Pinterest. It's so funny because I was talking to someone and I was like, I don't want to just be known for Pinterest. And they were like, well, it's not just Pinterest. Why do you love Pinterest? And I'm like, I love Pinterest because it gets me my life back. I love Pinterest because it allows me to sit down and create content and have confidence and clarity that the content that I'm creating is actually going to drive a real result for me and that it's going to make my work for me. I love Pinterest because it gets my work in front of people that don't even know I exist. Over 90% of searches on Pinterest are unbranded searches, meaning people are there to discover, to learn about new people. The other day, I was looking for a red ribbed dress and I found all these brands I had never even heard of. I didn't type in, Nike red ribbed dress. I just typed in red ribbed dress. And all of a sudden I'm discovering all of these smaller businesses and female owned companies. And so it is not this popularity contest and this shouting match. It is this place where you get your work seen and in front of people that you probably wouldn't have been exposed to before. If you were to add just 1 to 2 fresh pins daily, and in my free training, I talk about what is considered a fresh pin. But if you add just 1 to 2 fresh pins to Pinterest daily, you can see a significant increase in your visibility, in your traffic. And the reason that I love Pinterest so much is that you can log in 1 time per week, spend 1 of those precious hours, 1 out of 20 hours, setting up your strategy for the week, and then you can log out and forget about it until next week. You don't need to be on the platform every single day. There are so many ways that you can literally set it and forget it, unlike other platforms. The thing is that you can make as many pins as you want for every single piece of content. You just have to understand the strategy in order to do that. So again, this podcast episode that you're listening to right now, it's going to turn into 10, maybe even 20 pins, and it's going to drive traffic back to this episode for months and even years. This makes creating content so much more fun because I know like, hey, this is worth doing. This isn't just going to die next week when the next episode drops on the podcast. And it also gets me out of feeling stuck in content creation mode. Now I'm in promotion mode. I'm like, this work is so good. I want people to get it. I want it to be enjoyed and I want it to live on longer than when I initially post it. So again, my strategy takes under an hour a week to execute. It gets millions of eyeballs on our content each month, and it drives the most traffic to our website organically, more than Facebook and Instagram. So to sum all this up, if you are someone who is super burnt out on spending so much time creating content that is living and dying before it actually generates any sort of result for you, or you're looking for a way to create less content but have confidence that it will drive more results, I promise you, Pinterest is a platform you definitely need to explore. Not only is it going to help you lengthen the shelf life of your content 120 times over, but it can 20x the amount of traffic landing on your work, giving you way more opportunities to capture leads and make sales. Now, I hope today's episode is food for thought for you in terms of just thinking about where your precious time is being spent and how you can spend it in ways that helps your work live on and work for you so that you have time to get back to the things in your life that you love. By now, you're probably sold on using Pinterest to repurpose your existing content, but I literally want to show you how you can do this. So again, my free class, 20x your traffic in 1 hour a week using Pinterest, will walk you through the 5-step pin persuasion path to take someone from pinner to customer. I'll walk you through the 3 exact steps to convert your traffic into profits. And I will also give you a free gift just for showing up. So when you show up to the training, you'll also get my ultimate Pinterest quick start guide. It's going to walk you through the 10 essential steps that you need to take to use Pinterest strategically for your business this year. So again, head to teachmetopin.com to truly understand how Pinterest can work for you. I have shown thousands of people just like you how it can become their number one traffic source. So don't miss this chance. That's teachmetopin.com. And I hope I see you there, gold digger. Until next time, keep on digging your biggest goals and find interesting ways to drive greater results in less time.
I'm over here giving you a virtual high five because you just finished another episode of the Gold Digger podcast. Did that go by way too fast for anyone else? If you want more, head over to golddiggerpodcast.com for show notes and all the discount codes from today's sponsors. And if you're looking for a new crew of movers and shakers like you to bounce ideas and ask questions, be sure to join my exclusive community for Gold Diggers on Facebook. The link's waiting for you at golddiggerpodcast.com.